of course, there's no doubt at that point we're under attack. This is an ongoing attack. And you have to appreciate where we're standing and watching this. We're in the FBI building. We're in the terrorist headquarters space. This is where the embassy bombings and the Cole bombing, Ramsey Youssef, and all of that. This was counterterrorism central, if you will, for the United States. And I just looked at Mike and I said, 1, 2, 3. So let's get everybody out of here. Now, for the sake of time, I won't go into that whole evacuation thing and so forth. Suffice to say that when we got on the street, what was necessary actually took us towards the Trade Center, took us closer there. And once I'd seen to these, like my secretary and the other woman I mentioned before, seen to the safety of my staff and what have you, then I realized, well, I've got to go to work. This is what we're here for. And I went back into the federal building that I just escaped from, which is sort of a weird combination of thoughts. Right? And got some stuff I needed. And when I got back there, I found that the assistant director in charge of the office had given the order that the agents were to gather at the corner of Church and Vesey's, which is the northeast corner of the Trade Center. So a couple of us headed down there, and about half a block north of the intersection, I found about 40 agents had gathered, and more were coming in. They were in front of an office building there, and on the sidewalk. And so I got on top of the car that was there, and I started giving some orders and instructions and so forth. And one of the supervisors came over and told me that the assistant director had already been there and had just left and had gone to the Trade Center. So I said, well, fine, I will, let me go find him and I'll coordinate with him and, get busy with all those other things. And so I walked onto the Trade Center property, and it was actually somewhat difficult to get into the center. The fire engines, ambulances, etc., were just so bumper to bumper surrounding the entire place that you had to find your way through them. But you also had difficulty walking. There were, there was much on the street that you needed to be careful of. But at the same time, you had to keep one eye down, but you also had to keep another eye up because of the debris and parts of the building and, frankly, the other people coming down. And at the first point, I encountered the masses of people still pouring out of those buildings. Actually, they were being driven out, if you will, by the firemen and policemen and so forth. And I remember this one EMS worker standing there just yelling at these people, move, run for your life, get out of here, run north, of course, as they stood there themselves to get the other people out. And I walked around to the Church Street side and started to enter up into the plaza between the main plaza between towers, and it was immediately evident that was not a good idea. And of course, the Trade Center takes up 16 acres, and I had no hope of finding the boss, and so I said, well, let me go back to where the agents are and get that moving. So I walked back up the half block or so, and when I got there, one of the agents said to me that another one of the managers had arrived who was from the counterterrorism division, and he had taken about 30 agents into the lobby there of that building. So I went inside and talked with him for a moment, and I was addressing the agents as a group when when all of a sudden I heard this rumble. And I turned towards these glass doors that I had just come in through. And I was about to say, "What's that?" when an agent who was standing there turned around and just yelled, "Run." And this rumble was turning into a roar very quickly, very loud. Now, I can't, nobody who was there can give you times with any accuracy. You understand, these things in some cases took nanoseconds or just moments, but it's, and what I thought, it's another plane. They're diving on us. And I assumed that those glass doors were about to explode the way I had witnessed the previous explosion. And I did three things simultaneously. First, I ran towards the center of the building to get away from it. I took a deep breath. I didn't want to swallow the fire. I took my hands and made fists and put them inside my jacket because I thought I might have to dig my way out of him. I don't want my hands burned. And I got to the center of the lobby there, and there was a square marble security station, so to speak. And I just dove down behind it. There was a woman already lying there. I just jumped on top of her. And I no sooner got down there than the noise stopped. And I laid there for a second saying, "What was that?" And I sort of got up and kind of looked over the counter. And I thought that I'd gotten turned around somehow in this running to the middle of the building, because those doors that I was looking at now were painted black. Those were not the glass doors that I'd come in, less than a minute before. And it took a second or so, and I realized, oh, that's where I came from. And then it dawned on me that those doors aren't painted. That's the air outside. And I realized at that moment the building had collapsed. And that other manager who I'd been talking with, suddenly from somewhere around, just yelled, "Run." And I yelled back something else about, "No, we have people out there." I just left as many agents out on the other side of those doors as were inside. And I ran to the doors, and I pushed open the door. And I was presented with one of the most bizarre things that you can imagine. It was a moving wall. It was alive. How black was it? Just put both hands over your eyes. That's how black it was. And immediately it started coming in, and you could feel this piling up on your head and getting in your mouth, and you were just getting coated with this stuff. And I noticed that my arm, which was holding the door open, disappeared about here. That's how dense this was. It just disappeared. But probably the strangest thing was the silence. The most profound and complete silence I have ever known. And of course, what I was there for was to find these agents.